ナミさん、
サンジ君。
無事でよかった。ナミさん。
The relationship between Sanji and Nami is very interesting, but many people believe it is impossible for it to happen. After the video we talked about Luffy's naivety and the video about how Luffy feels about women in One Piece, I saw a lot of comments saying that Luffy wouldn't choose Boa Hancock in the end but Nami. And even though this possibility exists, I still believe that Sanji and Nami have a much more coherent love chemistry than Luffy and Nami. And in today's video I'm going to prove that yes, Sanji and Nami were made for each other, even though Oda has already said that there probably won't be any romance development in One Piece. So, will Sanji and Nami really end up together at the end of One Piece? Will this really happen? That's what we're going to analyze in today's video. And well, my dear pirates, before starting I have to remember that Oda has said several times that he does not intend to develop any romantic relationship within the One Piece manga, and we have to take this into consideration. After all, it is the word of the creator of the work. However, it's one thing for Oda to say that we won't have relationship development, it's another completely different thing for him to say that couples won't form at the end of One Piece. I could talk about several other shounen manga mangakas who also said that they would not have romantic relationships or couple development because their work was mainly focused on young boys, but in the end, everyone ended up having to adhere to some type of romance or even were forced to form some couples due to the great feminine appeal that his works achieved. According to Oda, boys prefer more fights and adventures while girls prefer romantic relationships, although this is not an absolute rule. But like I said, even though Oda doesn't want to develop any relationship, nothing stops him from creating couples for the end of One Piece or from Shonen Jump and Shueisha managers forcing him to do so, because one thing I learned years ago consuming manga and anime is that after the work becomes mainstream it no longer belongs to its author, that is, he does not have 100% control over everything that is happening within its story. Akira Toriyama, Kishimoto, and even the legendary mangaka of seinen genre stories, Kentaro Miura, creator of Berserk, may he rest in peace, had to make changes to their works at the behest of people who were behind the curtains, that is, the people who were paying for their works to be published. So even if Oda doesn't want to develop couples, don't be surprised if at the end of One Piece couples appear being formed, because this is completely normal even within shounen manga, and Oda may not have total control over this. But as I said in those videos, I still prefer to believe that Oda will do this, firstly because if even the Pirate King Gul D. Roger had a wife and children, why wouldn't Luffy? If the past generation had children, who are the current generation, why won't the current generation pave the way for a new generation? That doesn't make sense. And there's more, I believe that Oda, even though he says he doesn't want to do this, is already doing this himself. He himself is already developing relationships even if it's unconsciously, and Sanji and Nami are the greatest example for this. There are several moments between the two characters, and I'm not just talking about moments of appealing fan service. No, there are moments where Sanji and Nami clearly demonstrate that they are interconnected beyond just friendship and companionship. The scene in which Sanji finally returns to the Straw Hats in the Whole Cake arc is one that most expresses this bond between Sanji and Nami. In fact, if we stop to think, in Whole Cake Island there were several scenes that brighten the lives of those who really believe in the relationship between Sanji and Nami, and, personally, I confess that from this arc I noticed a chemistry between the two that I had never seen before, because I was also skeptical about this issue of romantic relationships in One Piece. In other words, my dear pirate, if Oda really didn't want to introduce relationships into One Piece for whatever reason, well, it looks like he's slowly changing his mind. And I believe this may have to do with Oda's own life. Recently, in 2020, Color Walk 9 was released in Japan, which is a book with a collection of illustrations from the One Piece manga. Along with the arts, each edition features an unprecedented interview with the creator of One Piece, Eiichiro Oda, who has always been extremely dedicated to the work. In an excerpt, Oda reveals that he didn't care about dating and relationships when he started writing One Piece, all to maintain total focus on his work. However, even with all the work he had done with One Piece, even with the work gaining notoriety, it allowed Oda to have assistants to help him with the manga, whether drawing backgrounds or even placing the effects of fights after Oda finished drawing the Oda characters. He ended up getting married and consequently had a daughter. I'm not saying that this made Oda change his opinion about having or not having relationships within One Piece, but it's interesting to know that in the beginning he didn't care as much about girlfriends as the characters within his work did. But over time this has changed, just like in his life. So it seems that yes, Oda is even unintentionally introducing couples into One Piece. He may not develop them completely, but he is clearly leaving clues within his work, especially when the subject involves Sanji and Nami. Unlike all relationships within the group of Straw Hats, and even among other crews and characters, it is with Sanji and Nami that I realize that Oda, even without wanting to, is developing some kind of relationship. That's why I believe that Luffy and Nami won't be together at the end of One Piece, and that's why I believe that Sanji and Nami will be a couple. What do you guys think about this? Do you think Sanji and Nami are a better possible couple than Luffy and Nami? Would Nami be the perfect wife for Luffy? I want to know your opinion about everything we commented here today. But of course, if you made it this far, it's because you like the content, so it doesn't hurt to subscribe to our channel and become one more member of our fleet, my dear pirate. And of course, do not forget to press the like button. That helps a lot in spreading the video and the channel, so help us to become the largest fleet of pirates here on YouTube, okay? A big hug for everyone. And until the next video.